It hangs out right here in the actual region of the neck. It's the only bone that does not what? Articulate with another bone, right? It just kind of hangs out there. It looks like a little vampire teeth. You see the little teeth coming off the edge? Okay? It's in the axial skeleton, right? Because the head, the neck, the torso are axial, right? So make sure you remember that. I'm going to, as I do these over here so you can kind of touch them and feel them. What is it again? As we look at our vertebra, I told you we had 3 atypical vertebrae, didn't I? You had your cervical, C1, C2, and C7, okay? This is C1, also known as axis. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Atlas, right? Atlas. You see the 3 holes? That tells you it's a cervical vertebra, right? And it's known as C1 or Atlas. C2 looks like this. Do you see the little tooth coming off the top? That's called the dens, and it actually fits inside the atlas. So the atlas can actually turn without falling off. All right? So it gives stability to our head as we move it around and those structures. And that is C2, also known as axis, right? And it also has 3 holes, 1, 2, and 3, right? Do you see the bifid spinous process on the back? The other thing that tells you it's a cervical vertebra. And of course, C7 has the longest spinous process, and it's very difficult to see which is which, so I'm not going to get into that. You're not going to have to recognize that on the test, except know which are the 3 atypical vertebrae, C1, C2, C7. As we look at the thoracic and lumbar vertebra, I told you that the best way to know your thoracic vertebra is because it looks like a what? A giraffe. You see the giraffe appearance? Your ears coming on down. You see it? It looks like a giraffe, right? Okay? And it'll sit like this on the table and you can see, oh, that's the thoracic. It's a giraffe. Do you notice how this bone is bigger than the other bones as they come down? Because as we go down into the column, the bones get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? We only know it's a thoracic. It does not have 3 holes, right? And sometimes, if you look at some of the thoracics, they have a heart-shaped body to them. Where's your heart found? In the thoracic region, right? Thoracic vertebra. So that's your thoracic vertebra. The lumbar vertebra, I told you, looks like what? A moose. Do you see the moose? Okay? Again, all vertebrae have a body. They all have transverse processes and a spinous process, don't they? Right? All of them do. The body on the lumbar is huge, isn't it, compared to the others, because it has to encompass much more weight as we go down in the spine. Right? And then they actually sit right on top of the sacrum, which is 5 fused bones together. The top portion here is the sacrum. And then the coccyx is attached on bottom. Right? The tailbone. So we have the sacrum and then the coccyx. As we look at the actual sternum, we have our different parts. We have the manubrium, right? We have the body, also known as the gladiolus, and we have the xiphoid process down below, right? But what are attached to it? These are your costal cartilages that allow your ribs to come in and combine, right? How many true ribs did we say we have?
7.
7. And how do we know a true rib from a false rib? It has its own costal cartilage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 true. 1, 2, 3, and then the 2 floating, 5 make false, right? And again, if you just look at a rib, you can't tell a rib from any other. It's like a rib. Right, as it comes across. You guys understand that? As we get into the axial skeleton, the appendicular skeleton, we're going to talk about the what? The pectoral girdle first. The pectoral girdle encompasses 2 structures. The actual clavicle, you see how it's like a little S-shaped curve there? The clavicle, and then the scapula.